Wow, that's such a cool idea to build. Today, we will team up with JJ to build our best building. Let's learn how to build a modern tree house.
Mikey has already started building. I hope he doesn't have time to mess up. I'm going to run and build our modern treehouse.
A treehouse is a perfect example of how architecture can work together with nature instead of replacing it. I start creating the foundation of my modern treehouse by focusing on the entrance, because the first impression of a building is created before someone even steps inside. The entrance uses quartz blocks, quartz stairs, gray concrete, and oak fences, creating a balance between clean modern shapes and natural materials. Quartz is often used in modern architecture because its bright surface makes structures feel open and elegant, while gray concrete adds a stronger industrial appearance. The combination of these materials creates an interesting contrast between the smooth, futuristic style of the house and the organic environment around it. Using oak fences also helps connect the entrance with the tree itself, because wooden elements are commonly used in designs that try to create a relationship between architecture and the landscape. A good modern building is not always about using the newest materials everywhere. It is about combining different textures and making every element feel like it belongs together. The main support of the modern tree house is created from oak wood, forming the tree that holds the entire structure above the ground. When designing buildings inspired by nature, architects often study how real trees distribute weight through their trunks and branches. A tree does not need to be extremely tall to be strong, because its stability comes from proportions and structure rather than just height. I use this idea while creating the wooden column, making it tall enough to support the house, but keeping it at a reasonable size. In real construction, vertical supports are carefully planned because they carry the weight of everything built above them. The same principle appears in Minecraft, where the shape and size of a structure can affect how balanced and believable it feels. A smaller tree trunk can also make the house look more connected to the environment because the building feels like it grew naturally from the landscape instead of being placed there randomly. Creating a modern treehouse requires a mix of two different design ideas: natural shapes and modern geometry. Trees usually have irregular forms with curves and unique patterns, while modern architecture often focuses on straight lines, symmetry, and simple shapes. The interesting part is combining these opposite styles into one design. The entrance of my build represents the modern side with bright quartz and concrete, while the oak wood keeps the connection with nature. This type of combination can be seen in real eco-friendly architecture, where glass, concrete, and wood are often used together to create buildings that feel both comfortable and advanced. Modern houses surrounded by nature usually try to make people feel like they are living inside the environment rather than separated from it. A treehouse is a great way to explore this idea because the building itself becomes part of the landscape, turning a simple structure into something that feels alive.
The construction of a modern treehouse becomes much more interesting when the design starts expanding beyond the tree itself. While the wooden structure continues to grow, I focus on creating the living spaces that will make the house feel like a real architectural project. The main idea behind these rooms is to make them look like natural parts of the tree rather than simple boxes attached to it. I create two separate rounded rooms, placing one on each side of the structure. Their curved shape is inspired by the way branches and leaves create smooth, flowing forms in nature. In architecture, rounded spaces are often used to make buildings feel more dynamic because they break away from strict rectangular shapes. This approach can make a structure look more organic and visually interesting, especially when the goal is to combine technology with the natural world. The rooms use quartz blocks, gray concrete, and light blue glass for the windows, creating a modern appearance that contrasts with the wooden tree trunk. This material combination follows an important design principle, using different textures and colors to separate parts of a building while still keeping them connected. Quartz gives the rooms a clean and futuristic feeling because of its bright surface, while gray concrete adds depth and makes the design look more stable. The light blue glass introduces a softer element by reflecting the sky and creating the feeling that the rooms are surrounded by air. In real architecture, glass is often used not only because it looks impressive, but also because it helps connect indoor spaces with the outside environment. The placement of the two rooms on opposite sides also creates a sense of balance in the structure. Symmetry is one of the oldest principles in architecture because the human eye naturally finds balanced compositions easier to understand. Many famous buildings throughout history use symmetrical designs because they create a feeling of order and stability. However, perfect symmetry is not always necessary, and modern architects often combine balanced layouts with creative shapes to make their designs more unique. The rounded rooms of the treehouse follow this idea by creating a balanced structure while still keeping a natural appearance. A treehouse built in a modern style shows how different architectural ideas can work together. Traditional treehouses usually focus on wood and simple construction, while modern designs often include unusual shapes, large windows, and advanced materials. Combining these elements creates a completely different experience, where the building feels both comfortable and futuristic. The goal is not just to create a place to live, but to create a structure that tells a story. The shape of the rooms makes the tree look almost like it is carrying small pieces of architecture inside its branches. Every part of a build like this has a purpose, because good design comes from understanding how different elements support each other. The rounded rooms create the main visual identity of the modern treehouse, while the materials help communicate the style of the building. Architects often spend a lot of time choosing materials because they influence how people feel when they see a structure. Bright surfaces can make a space feel open, darker materials can add strength, and transparent elements can make buildings appear lighter. By combining these ideas, the treehouse becomes more than just a collection of blocks. It becomes an example of how creativity and engineering can transform a simple concept into a unique architectural design.
I noticed that the trunk of my modern treehouse has become longer than I planned, and I understand that the whole structure needs a small adjustment. At first, a taller tree might seem like a better idea because it makes the house look bigger and more impressive, but height alone does not always make a design better. In real architecture, the size of every part of a building has to work together. Architects think about proportions, because a structure that is too narrow or too tall can lose its natural balance. The same thing happens in Minecraft. Even though blocks do not have weight like real materials, our eyes still recognize when something feels too stretched or unrealistic. A good build is not only about adding more blocks. It is about knowing when a shape already has enough size and when changing it can improve the entire design. Trees are actually a great example of perfect natural proportions. A real tree can grow very high, but its trunk, branches, and leaves all develop together to support each other. The trunk is not just a random tower of wood, it has a special structure that allows the tree to carry its own weight and survive strong weather. Scientists study trees because their natural designs are incredibly efficient. Some modern engineers even look at plants when creating new technologies because nature has spent millions of years improving its own systems. This idea is called biomimicry, and it means using solutions from nature to inspire human inventions. A treehouse is a fun way to explore this idea because the building itself becomes connected to the same principles that make real trees successful. After changing the size of the trunk, I can continue creating the upper rooms of the modern treehouse using the same materials as before. Keeping the same quartz blocks, gray concrete, and light blue glass helps the whole build feel like one complete home instead of separate structures connected together. I learned that colors and materials can tell a story about a building. Quartz gives the rooms a clean and modern feeling, concrete makes them look stronger and more stable, and blue glass creates a connection with the sky. In real houses, large windows are often used to bring more natural light inside and make people feel closer to the environment around them. That is why glass is such an important material in modern architecture. The idea of building rooms higher inside a tree is also connected to how people design homes in places where space is limited. Many cities around the world build upward because there is not enough room to expand outward. Skyscrapers, apartments, and even small modern houses often use vertical space to create comfortable areas without taking too much land. A treehouse follows a similar idea by using the height of the tree as part of the design. I think that is what makes this type of build so interesting. It combines the imagination of living among branches with real architectural ideas. A great Minecraft build can be creative and fun while still teaching us how real buildings are planned and designed.
The next important part of the modern treehouse is creating a natural environment around the structure. A building does not exist separately from the place where it stands, and professional architects always think about how a structure interacts with its surroundings. I focus on adding leaves around the lower part of the tree and creating a large leafy crown above the house. This helps the build feel like an actual tree instead of just a wooden tower with rooms attached to it. In landscape design, plants are often used to improve the connection between architecture and nature because greenery can change the entire atmosphere of a space. A building surrounded by plants usually feels more comfortable and welcoming because natural elements create a softer visual impression. The upper leafy crown is an important part of the design because it defines the silhouette of the entire treehouse. In architecture, silhouettes are used to make buildings recognizable and memorable. Many famous structures around the world are known not only because of their materials or size, but because of their unique outlines. The same principle works in Minecraft, where the shape of a build from a distance can be just as important as the details close up. A large, textured canopy makes the treehouse look more complete and gives the structure a stronger identity. Instead of appearing like separate rooms floating in the air, the leaves connect everything into one natural composition. Creating realistic foliage is also a challenge because real tree crowns are not simple, flat shapes. Trees have complex structures with different layers of branches and leaves, which create depth and volume. If leaves are placed in a completely uniform way, the result can look artificial because nature rarely follows perfect patterns. Good landscape design often uses variation, combining different heights, spaces, and textures to create a more realistic appearance. The same idea applies here, where the leafy sections need enough detail to feel organic. A well-designed natural element can make a modern structure feel much more alive. The empty spaces inside the leafy crown are another important detail when creating a believable tree. A real tree is not a solid block of leaves. It has branches, air gaps, and different layers that allow sunlight and wind to move through it. However, in Minecraft, large empty spaces can sometimes make a build look unfinished, especially when viewed from different angles. Filling the inside of the canopy helps create a fuller and more powerful shape while keeping the appearance of a natural tree. This is similar to how designers think about volume in architecture. The outside shape must look complete from every perspective, not just from one specific view. The size of the leafy crown also changes the feeling of the entire modern treehouse because scale plays a huge role in design. In architecture, scale helps people understand the relationship between a building and the environment around it. A small house with a massive surrounding landscape can feel hidden and peaceful, while a large structure can become the main focus of the area. For this treehouse, the large canopy creates the feeling of a giant natural shelter, almost like the tree itself is protecting the rooms below. This idea appears in real architecture as well, where designers often use roofs, gardens, and natural elements to create a feeling of comfort and protection. The goal is not only to make something visually impressive, but also to create an emotional connection with the space. The texture of the leaves is another important part of making the tree look realistic. In nature, surfaces are rarely completely flat, and small differences in shape create a more interesting visual experience. Architects and designers use the same principle when working with buildings by adding different materials, patterns, and details to avoid boring surfaces. A completely smooth wall can feel empty, while a surface with different textures can create more depth. The leafy crown follows this idea by using different levels and shapes to make the tree feel more dynamic. Even though Minecraft uses simple blocks, careful placement can create the illusion of complex natural forms. A large tree crown also changes the way light interacts with the build. In real forests, leaves create areas of shadow and sunlight because they block and filter light in different ways. This creates a special atmosphere that makes forests feel calm and mysterious. Lighting is an important part of architecture because the way light enters a space can completely change how people experience it. Architects study natural lighting when designing homes, museums, and public buildings because sunlight can affect mood and comfort. The leafy structure of the treehouse helps create a similar feeling, making the building feel like it belongs in a natural environment rather than simply standing inside one. Combining modern rooms with a huge natural canopy creates a contrast between human engineering and the complexity of nature. The rooms are based on planned shapes, carefully chosen materials, and clear geometric forms, while the leaves represent something more organic and unpredictable. This contrast is one of the reasons why nature-inspired architecture is so interesting. Designers often try to combine these two worlds because technology and nature can solve different problems together. The area around a building is an important part of its overall design because architecture does not end at the walls of a structure. I create natural paths in front of the modern treehouse using grass paths made with a shovel, helping the entrance feel more connected to the surrounding environment. In real landscape design, paths are used not only for movement, but also to create a visual connection between different areas. A well-planned path can guide attention toward the main building and make the entrance feel more welcoming. Adding grass and flowers around the house with bone meal brings more life and color to the area, creating a smoother transition between the artificial structure and the natural world. Small details like vegetation are often what make a location feel realistic, because real environments are filled with different textures, colors, and layers. This is why landscape designers carefully combine plants, pathways, and architecture to create spaces that feel complete. The goal is not just to decorate the area, but to make the modern treehouse look like it truly belongs in the forest. Before adding decorations, the inside of a building needs to have a practical structure that allows people to move comfortably through the space. I adjust the interior of the modern treehouse by adding missing blocks and removing unnecessary ones, making the connection between different floors easier to navigate. In architecture, a good interior is not only about appearance, it is also about functionality. Designers have to think about how people will move through a room, where important areas should be located, and how every part of the space can be used effectively. Even the most beautiful building can feel uncomfortable if the layout makes movement difficult. This is why architects create plans before construction, carefully considering the relationship between open areas, walls, and pathways. The same principle applies in Minecraft, where thoughtful organization can make a build feel much more realistic and enjoyable. A well-designed interior should create a natural flow between different spaces. This means that every area should feel connected, and moving through the building should feel simple and logical. In a multi-level house like this, the connection between floors is especially important because the vertical structure is one of the main features of the design. Real architects often study how people interact with different levels of a building. making sure that transitions between spaces are comfortable and efficient. Small changes in the arrangement of blocks can completely change how a room feels, making it appear more open or more organized. Good architecture is not only about what people see from the outside, it is also about creating a space that works from the inside. By improving the interior layout, the modern treehouse becomes not just an interesting structure, but a functional home where every part has a purpose. It's time for furniture. A building becomes a real home not only because of its walls and exterior design, but because of the way the inside space is organized. Interior design is about creating an atmosphere and making every room match its purpose. I decorate the rooms of the modern treehouse by adding elements that combine functionality, creativity, and personality. The chandelier becomes an important source of decoration because lighting has a huge influence on how people experience a space. In real architecture, lighting is carefully planned because it can change the mood of a room, highlight important areas, and make spaces feel more comfortable. The bookshelves, enchanting table, brewing stand, and cauldron with water create the feeling of a place designed for learning and creativity. The floor below focuses on creating a more comfortable and relaxing atmosphere. The canopy bed becomes the main feature of the room because large beds with decorative structures above them have been used in interior design for centuries. Historically, beds with canopies were not only symbols of luxury, but also practical designs that provided privacy and warmth. The combination of the bed, a small table, and a lamp creates a cozy area where every element has its own role. The lowest floor of the modern treehouse is designed as a more practical living area with regular beds, a crafting table, furnaces, and chests. Different rooms in real houses usually have different functions, and this idea helps create more believable builds. Some spaces are made for relaxation, while others are designed for work, storage, or everyday activities. The addition of paintings and black and red wool carpets also helps bring more personality to the interior. Great, we've got a wonderful modern treehouse.
Wow, JJ, we did such a good job on this house that I would love to stay in it.
I totally agree with you, Mikey. Well, I think it's time for us to finish.
Yes, JJ, you're right.
Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.
Wow, that's such a cool idea to build. I definitely have to try to build a futuristic golden mansion. Mikey, round! I'm starting construction. To begin with, I put up gold blocks, build the walls of my mansion, change the blocks of earth from below to gold, put yellow glass in the windows, I put a door at the entrance. I finish building the walls of the house. I put gold slabs on top. I start building a roof from them. I build it up with blocks from above. Whew, it took so much effort. Great, my futuristic golden mansion is ready. Hey, Banana Kid, look, I built it. Do you like? What? Don't you like it? I'm not sure if you can beat me in construction. Haha, don't even dream about it. I'm the best builder. Maybe you can try to build a better one yourself. They ran to the place. This is where your building will be. Are you ready? Then go ahead.
Okay, everybody, let's go!
Nice. Go, go, go! Oh my.
Where did everyone run off to? Hey guys, what's all that noise?
Banana Kid and I are building a futuristic golden mansion, JJ. Who did it better?
Oh, both of your buildings look great, but I think it's up to the audience to decide who did the best.
Yes, JJ, you're right. Let's look at the Banana Kid building then.
Banana Kid, your futuristic golden mansion is incredibly beautiful. You've built a huge building.
I totally agree with you. Maybe you'll build a futuristic golden mansion.
Okay,
JJ, good luck to you. We'll wait in the house.
thanks guys, then I'm starting. JJ round. I'll need different gold blocks and glass to build it. I'm starting construction. To begin with, I'm putting up gold blocks, building the foundation of my futuristic golden mansion out of them. I'm not going to do anything from this side yet. On the other side, I start to build up the wall with gold blocks. Build a pillar up. Do the same on this side. Connect them from above. I'm putting up golden steps from below, and I'm building them all over the wall.
Nice.
I continue to build the outline of my futuristic golden mansion. From below, I exchange blocks of earth for gold ore. But at the top, I'm building up the ceiling with gold blocks. I'm putting foliage in the back and front. Rearranging it a bit here. I build up this wall with yellow glass. Cover the voids with blocks. And do the same at the back. I also put glass on this side, but I leave a passage inside. I'm starting to build the futuristic golden mansion above, building the outline of the second floor. I'm putting up gold blocks on this side. Now steps. And I'm building a wall with them. From below, on each side, I put steps. And on them, I put foliage. I begin to build up all the walls of the second floor with yellow glass. Half is ready.
Oh, man.
From above, I build up the roof of the floor with gold blocks.
Okay.
Now, I'm starting to build the outline of the third floor.
Noob.
Immediately building the roof with blocks from above.
Come on!
Rebuilding along the edges and putting steps instead of the usual golden blocks. I do the same thing from below. I put foliage on top. On this side, I put gold blocks and steps. As well as from below.
Wow!
Now, I put doors at the entrance. Inside, I begin to build a staircase up from the golden steps. Make a passage to the top. Put the missing blocks. I do the same thing on the second floor.
Nice. Oh, come on.
I'm putting up gold fences on the third floor. Time for furniture. I put a TV, a sofa, an enchanted table, a brewing stand, a cauldron of water, armor racks, hang a painting on the wall, as well as armor on racks. I put a carpet of orange and yellow wool on the floor. On the second floor, I put up a bed, a bedside table, and a lamp, anvils with foliage for decoration. A workbench, stoves, chests, and hang a painting on the wall. On the third floor, I put a grill, a portable refrigerator, tables and chairs.
Go, go, go!
On the second floor, I put a carpet on the floor. Great! My futuristic golden mansion is ready. It's time for me to show it to the guys.
Wow, JJ, you've got a wonderful futuristic golden mansion. I like it.
Thank you guys. I am very glad that you liked my building. Friends, be sure to write in the comments whose building you like the most. Well, I think it's time for us to finish.
Yes, JJ, you're right.
Subscribe and like. Bye-bye.